Milo adjusted the controls of his small starship as it drifted toward the glowing station. The Celestia Hall hung in space like a jewel, a spinning ring of lights and mirrors that reflected distant stars. He had never seen anything like it. His invitation had arrived mysteriously, an elegant hollow message with a voice that whispered, "Only the worthy may enter." Milo's curiosity burned brighter than his fear. He had spent years exploring minor trade routes and forgotten planets, but this was something extraordinary. The Celestia Hall was rumored across galaxies as the greatest casino in existence. Stories told of alien nobles, impossible games, and winnings beyond imagination. Most humans never reached it. Milo, somehow, had an invitation. As he guided his ship toward the docking platform, he noticed the faint hum of the station. It wasn't mechanical, it felt alive, almost welcoming. The docking bay doors slid open silently, revealing a smooth corridor bathed in warm golden light. Milo stepped out, his boots echoing lightly on the polished floor. "Welcome, traveler," a melodic voice said. Milo turned to see a humanoid figure approaching. She had silver hair that glimmered like starlight and eyes that shifted colors depending on the light. Her uniform sparkled with subtle lights, and her smile was calm but knowing. "I am Rena," she said, bowing slightly. "I will guide you through the Celestia Hall." Milo nodded, unsure whether to be cautious or impressed. I didn't expect anyone to meet me personally." Rena's smile widened. "You are not just any visitor, Milo. The hall has its own ways of knowing who is special. It has chosen you." The words made Milo shiver. Chosen? For what? And by what? He didn't have time to think further as Rena led him down the corridor. The walls glimmered with shifting holographic patterns, showing scenes of alien worlds, swirling nebulae, and creatures Milo could hardly imagine. Finally, they entered the main hall. Milo's jaw dropped. The casino was massive. Tables floated in mid-air, lit with holographic projections that showed numbers, symbols, and unknown alphabets. Alien spectators hovered on transparent platforms, observing the players below. Lights of every color danced across the ceiling, reflecting off crystal-like surfaces. The air smelled faintly of ozone and spices from distant planets. "This is incredible," Milo whispered. Rena chuckled softly. "Yes. But the Celestia Hall is not just about beauty. It is about challenges, intelligence, courage, and presence. Here, your actions speak as loudly as your luck." Milo nodded, unsure what she meant, but eager to see more. A crowd of various aliens began to gather around a floating table. Cards hovered in the air, and dice rolled themselves, glowing with strange energy. Milo watched as one alien player made a move, and the table shifted its holographic display as if responding to the player's mind. Rena leaned closer. "The games are not only for money. They test your mind, your instinct, and even your heart. Pay attention. Winning here is not always about what you see. Sometimes it is about what you understand." Milo's excitement mixed with tension. He had gambled before in small colonies, but never anything like this. Here, losing might mean more than money, it could mean humiliation or worse. He wondered if the hall had rules that humans couldn't even comprehend. Before he could dwell too long, a polite hum of attention spread across the room. A tall, elegant alien approached, dressed in flowing robes that shimmered like liquid light. The crowd parted automatically as if the alien's presence commanded respect. Milo realized this must be someone important, perhaps a host or even the casino's authority. Rena whispered, "That is Master Viel, one of the overseers. He rarely speaks directly to newcomers. But he watches everyone closely. His judgment is final." Milo swallowed hard. His hands felt clammy despite the controlled environment. "Stay calm, stay focused," he told himself. "Remember why you came." Then, something strange happened. He felt a subtle pull, almost magnetic, toward one of the floating tables. It wasn't physical, more like the casino itself wanted him there. He glanced at Rena, who nodded almost imperceptibly. "You are ready," she said softly. "The hall has chosen your first challenge." Milo's heart raced as he floated toward the table. Holographic cards shimmered in the air, forming symbols he had never seen before. Around him, the crowd watched silently. He realized that his adventure in the casino of seduction had truly begun, and nothing in his past travels had prepared him for this. As the first holographic die rolled in front of him, Milo took a deep breath. He reminded himself that being human meant using more than luck. It meant thinking, observing, and trusting his instincts. Somewhere deep inside, he felt a spark of confidence. "This is it," he thought. "Let's see what the Celestia Hall truly wants from me." And with that, Milo reached out, ready to face his first test in the legendary casino. Milo's hand hovered over the floating holographic cards, unsure where to begin. Each card shimmered with colors he had never seen and symbols that seemed to change when he blinked. Around him, the crowd of aliens watched silently, their eyes bright with curiosity. Some tilted their heads, studying him as though they were trying to read his thoughts. Rena's voice was calm beside him. "Don't worry, Milo. The first game is not just about luck. Watch carefully. Learn from what you see, and trust your instincts." Milo nodded. He had always relied on observation during his travels. Quick thinking had saved him from pirates, smugglers, and dangerous storms on alien planets. Perhaps it could help him here too. The holographic cards floated in a perfect circle. A small panel appeared in front of him, displaying rules in symbols. They were complex, but Milo noticed a pattern. He focused, analyzing the movement of the cards and how the alien players interacted with them. One alien reached out, and the card responded, tilting and glowing in acknowledgement. Milo realized it was responsive to thought, not touch. He took a deep breath and concentrated. He didn't know the proper names or symbols, but he began to predict the sequence, using logic and deduction. Slowly, the cards began to align in patterns that made sense. The crowd murmured, some leaning forward, impressed. Milo's confidence grew. "You are learning quickly," Rena whispered. "The hall rewards cleverness. Keep your mind open." As the game progressed, the stakes became higher. More cards appeared, more symbols to decode. Milo noticed that some aliens tried to distract him, small flashes of light, subtle gestures, but he ignored them. He focused on patterns, sequences, and timing. Slowly, the cards responded to him, glowing brighter, shifting in his favor. Then a new element appeared, a floating die. Milo had seen dice on human planets, but this one was different. Numbers glowed in strange colors, and it rolled in mid-air, as if controlled by a hidden force. He remembered Rena's words, the game was not only luck, but perception and courage. Milo studied the die's rotation, predicting which side would land up. When it hovered over the number he expected, he extended his hand. The die floated smoothly into his palm, glowing warmly. A cheer rose from some of the alien spectators. Milo felt a thrill, not from winning, but from realizing that his instincts and human logic were working. He was beginning to understand the casino's secret. It reacted to intelligence and courage, not just chance. Milo's confidence did not go unnoticed. Torin, a tall alien with sharp features and flowing dark robes, stepped forward. His eyes glinted with challenge. "So, a human thinks he can compete with the masters of the hall," he said, voice smooth and confident. "Let's see if you can continue." Milo met Torin's gaze without hesitation. Something inside him sparked a mixture of curiosity, determination, and pride. Humans might be considered small or simple by galactic standards, but Milo had something many aliens underestimated: adaptability and persistence. The game shifted again. Now it required quick decisions and social awareness. Other players could attempt to mislead him or influence the cards with subtle gestures. Milo noticed patterns in their body language, their hesitation, and the way their eyes darted. He began to predict their moves as much as he predicted the cards. "You are remarkable," Rena said softly, smiling. "Remember, Milo, the hall responds to who you are inside. Your humanity is your advantage here." Milo nodded, keeping his focus. Each win, each small victory, felt like a step deeper into the heart of the Celestia Hall. But he also felt a growing awareness: this place was more than a casino. It tested character, courage, and intelligence. Those who relied on trickery or strength alone would fail. Finally, the round ended. Milo had completed the first challenge. Holographic lights spun around him in celebration, and the crowd applauded, some even floating down to shake his hand or whatever passed for a handshake in their alien form. Torin's expression was unreadable. He bowed slightly, but Milo sensed both respect and challenge. This was only the beginning. Rena guided Milo to a quieter corner. "The first round is complete," she explained. "But remember, each game will grow harder. You will face not only chance and logic, but temptation, pressure, and choices that test your heart." Milo listened carefully, feeling a mix of excitement and caution. He realized that this adventure was bigger than he had imagined. The Celestia Hall was not just a place for gambling, it was a test of humans against the galaxy's finest minds and strategies. And Milo felt ready. He smiled at Rena. "I think I can handle this." Rena's eyes shimmered. "I know you can, Milo. The hall has chosen wisely." Milo took a deep breath, looking out at the spinning lights and floating tables. Somewhere inside, a thrill of excitement and purpose ignited. He had arrived as a curious human, but he would leave as someone who had proven that humanity could face the galaxy's greatest challenges. And with that thought, Milo stepped forward, ready to face the next challenge, whatever it might be. After his first victory, Milo felt a mix of excitement and tension. The applause of the alien spectators still echoed in his mind, and the warmth of the holographic lights made him feel like he had entered another world. But Rena's words stayed with him: "The hall tests more than luck. It tests who you are." Rena guided Milo down a curved corridor lined with glowing panels. Each panel displayed alien symbols, scenes of distant planets, and constellations that shifted as if alive. "You did well," she said, her voice soft but serious. "But the hall has more in store for you. Its challenges are not just games. They are lessons, trials, and tests of character. You must be alert." Milo nodded. He felt a shiver of curiosity. So far, he had won through observation, logic, and instinct. Could he keep this pace? Could he understand what the hall truly wanted from him? They entered a large, circular chamber. The walls were covered with shimmering energy screens, and the floor glowed faintly with shifting patterns. In the center floated a small pedestal with a crystal orb that pulsed with light. As Milo approached, he felt a subtle tug, not physical, but emotional. The orb seemed to call to him. "This is the hall's next challenge," Rena explained. "It is not a game of chance, like the first one. It is a test of perception and courage. You must see beyond what is visible and act with purpose." Milo studied the orb. It reflected fragments of his face, but also strange visions: alien cities, flying creatures, and scenes of humans in unfamiliar places. He realized the orb was showing possibilities, choices, and outcomes. A wrong decision might close some paths forever. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the chamber. It was calm, deep, and slightly melodic. "Milo. To continue, you must choose what you value most. Knowledge, power, or trust." Milo froze. It sounded simple, but he sensed a trap. The hall did not reward foolish choices. He thought of what he had learned so far: observation, logic, empathy. The first game had been about understanding, not just winning. He turned to Rena. "How do I know the right choice?" Rena smiled faintly. "The right choice is not always the obvious one. The hall responds to honesty and courage. Choose what aligns with your true nature." Milo took a deep breath. He thought of the alien spectators, the floating tables, and the master's presence he had glimpsed. Then he thought of his own values. Knowledge alone could tempt him, but without wisdom, it might be useless. Power could give him control, but it could corrupt. Trust in himself, in others, and in his instincts felt true. He reached out and touched the orb. Light surged, surrounding him in warm energy. Scenes shifted again, but this time, Milo felt calm. He trusted his choice. The orb pulsed brightly, then settled. A path of glowing symbols appeared on the floor, leading to another chamber. "You have chosen wisely," the voice said. "Few see the value of trust. Few have the courage to follow it." Milo felt a surge of pride and relief. Rena's eyes sparkled. "The hall approves. You are beginning to understand its purpose. But remember, every choice now will shape what comes next." As they followed the glowing path, Milo noticed small details he had not seen before. Some panels displayed subtle messages, warnings, or hints. Others seemed to test his reaction, flashing lights that tried to startle him, or faint whispers designed to distract. Milo realized that the hall was testing focus, patience, and perception as much as his decisions. Rena stopped at a doorway. "The next challenge will involve interaction with other players. You will encounter rivals and allies. Observe carefully. Your success will depend not only on your skill, but also on understanding others." Milo nodded, feeling the weight of the hall's lessons. Each step in this casino was more than a game. Each challenge taught him something about thinking, observing, and trusting his instincts. He felt a deep sense of purpose. He was not just playing to win, he was learning to survive and thrive in a world far beyond Earth. Before entering the next chamber, Milo paused. "Rena, why me? Why choose a human for this?" Rena's expression softened. "Because humans are unusual. You rely not only on skill, but on heart. The hall wants to see if someone like you, someone with courage, curiosity, and honesty, can succeed among the galaxy's best. You have something no advanced technology or alien intelligence can replicate: your humanity." Milo smiled faintly, feeling both proud and nervous. The path ahead was uncertain, but he understood something crucial: the hall was not just a casino. It was a test of character, courage, and perception, designed to reveal the hidden strengths of those who entered. He stepped forward, ready for whatever the hall would challenge him with next. Each pulse of the crystal orb echoed in his mind, reminding him that this was only the beginning. And deep inside, Milo felt a spark of confidence. He had survived the first games and made the right choice in the hidden challenge. He realized that being human, curious, clever, and courageous might be his greatest advantage in the Celestia Hall. The glowing corridor ahead promised new trials, new games, and new mysteries. Milo's adventure had grown far beyond gambling. He was part of something larger, a test of humanity itself in a galaxy full of extraordinary beings. And he was ready. Milo stepped into the next chamber and felt a subtle shift in the air. The glowing corridor opened into a large hall filled with floating platforms, each holding players from across the galaxy. Some were tall and elegant, others small and quick, and all eyes seemed to follow him the moment he entered. He realized this was more than a game, it was a test of social awareness and strategy. Rena appeared beside him. "This hall will test how you interact with others," she explained. "Some may help you, some may challenge you. Watch carefully. Use your intelligence and trust your instincts." Milo scanned the room. On one platform stood a tall alien in deep blue robes. His eyes were sharp, and his posture confident. "That is Torin," Rena whispered. He is skilled, cunning, and sees newcomers as threats. On another platform, a smaller, friendly-looking alien with golden skin smiled and waved. This is Zara, Rena continued. She is clever, strategic, and may become an ally if you prove trustworthy. Milo nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He understood now that winning the Celestia Hall required more than cleverness, it required understanding people, or in this case, beings from other worlds. The first round began. Holographic tables appeared, each with complex symbols and moving elements. Milo noticed immediately that the games required cooperation as well as competition. To succeed, he would have to read his opponents and allies alike. Torin moved first. His actions were precise, calculated. He attempted to manipulate the holographic table, subtly shifting elements in his favor. Milo realized that Torin would not hesitate to deceive others for advantage. But he also noticed a pattern. Torin relied on overconfidence, assuming his knowledge and power gave him control. Milo could use this to his advantage. Zara approached cautiously, her gestures gentle and open. She seemed to be observing Milo as much as the game. You're new, she said in a melodic voice. I can see you understand more than most humans. Do you want to work together? Milo hesitated. Trust was the Hall's test, and he had already learned the value of it. Yes, he said. But carefully. We need to watch each other and the others. That's the only way to win here. Zara nodded. Agreed. Let's pay attention and act when needed. The first cooperative move was tricky. Elements on the table shifted depending on teamwork, timing, and intuition. Milo communicated silently with Zara, using small gestures and eye contact. Together, they anticipated Torin's moves, correcting the table's flow before he could gain advantage. Slowly, the holographic elements aligned in their favor, glowing brighter with each successful move. Torin's eyes narrowed. He realized Milo was not just a simple human. He adjusted his strategy, attempting to disrupt their cooperation with clever distractions. Milo had expected this. He kept calm, focusing on observation, prediction, and collaboration with Zara. Through careful attention, Milo and Zara completed the first stage. The table's light flared in acknowledgement, and the floating platforms tilted slightly in approval. Some spectators murmured with admiration. Milo realized something important: humans could succeed by understanding others, not just raw skill. After the round, Milo and Zara moved to a quieter platform. You are very clever, Zara said, smiling. Most would have been intimidated by Torin. But you stayed calm, observed, and used logic. That is rare. Milo smiled back. I've had to survive in unpredictable places before. Observation and trust make a big difference. Rena appeared again, her eyes shining with approval. You are learning fast. Alliances, rivals, observation, and courage, all of these are part of the Hall's trials. Remember, your human instincts are unique. Use them. As they prepared for the next round, Milo noticed Torin watching him carefully. There was no hostility, only calculated interest. Milo understood that Torin respected him, but he would continue to test Milo in every way possible. The Hall was designed to push participants beyond skill, into the realm of strategy, adaptability, and character. Milo felt a surge of confidence. He had made an ally in Zara and learned the ways of a rival in Torin. The games were not just about cards, dice, or symbols, they were about reading others, predicting intentions, and acting wisely. The Hall challenged all aspects of a player, and Milo was beginning to see the depth of its design. Before the next round began, Rena leaned close. Remember, Milo, you are not only a player, you are a symbol of humanity here. Your actions will show others what humans can do. Courage, honesty, and cleverness, these are your strengths. Milo nodded. I understand. I won't forget it. He took a deep breath and stepped forward, ready to face the next challenge. In this cosmic casino, every game, every move, and every decision tested his mind, his perception, and his heart. And Milo knew one thing clearly: humans were not weak. They were clever, adaptable, and capable of triumph even in a place designed to test the galaxy's best. With Zara by his side and Torin watching closely, Milo felt ready for whatever the hall would throw at him next. The adventure had grown beyond chance. The Celestia Hall was now a stage, and Milo was ready to prove that humanity could rise above any challenge. Milo followed Zara through another corridor, the walls glowing softly with shifting colors. The next chamber was unlike any he had seen before. The room was vast and circular, with floating platforms rising toward the ceiling, bathed in warm light. In the center hovered a giant holographic orb, radiating energy in waves. Rena appeared beside him. "This is a different challenge," she said. "The hall now tests not only skill, but the heart. You will face temptations designed to distract and sway you. Your choices here will reveal your true nature." Milo swallowed. He had won games through logic, observation, and trust, but temptation was another matter entirely. He had no idea what the hall might offer: wealth, knowledge, power, but he knew from the lessons so far that every offer had a purpose. As he stepped closer to the orb, the chamber changed. Holographic illusions surrounded him, visions of unimaginable wealth, powerful devices, and knowledge from every corner of the galaxy. The images were mesmerizing, and Milo felt a pull, a whisper that promised he could have it all if he only reached out. "You may choose any of these," a calm voice echoed through the room. "Knowledge, power, or influence. Take what you desire, and the hall will reward you greatly." Milo hesitated. Every instinct told him that these were tests, not rewards. He thought of Zara, of Rena's words, and of the first lessons in the hall. Winning by greed or trickery would not impress the master. The real challenge was staying true to himself. He shook his head. I don't want these," he said aloud, surprising himself. The holograms flickered, trying to entice him further. The wealth sparkled, the technology hummed, and the knowledge seemed to whisper secrets. Milo's heart raced. He could feel the thrill of temptation, but he also felt something stronger, his own sense of purpose and integrity. Zara stepped beside him, her expression calm but supportive. "The hall is testing your spirit," she said. "It wants to see if you can resist shortcuts. Do what you know is right." Milo nodded, feeling a surge of determination. Slowly, he extended his hand and let the illusions fade. The room grew quiet, and the orb's glow shifted to a warm, steady light. A voice, deeper and more resonant than before, spoke. "You have chosen wisely," it said. "Few can resist temptation. Few understand that true strength lies not in power, but in wisdom and courage. You demonstrate qualities that set your kind apart." Milo felt a rush of relief and pride. The temptation had been strong, yet he had resisted. It was a test of more than skill, it was a test of character. Then the challenge evolved. Floating panels appeared, showing interactions with other players. Some tried to manipulate him, offering alliances that seemed too good to be true. Others tried to frighten him with warnings of failure or exile. Milo remembered the lessons from the first games and the hidden challenge. Observation, trust, and careful judgment were his tools. He carefully navigated these choices, helping Zara when needed, but staying cautious of Torin's subtle maneuvers. Every decision required focus and clarity, and Milo felt the weight of the hall's attention. It was as if the chamber itself watched his actions, measuring not only his skill, but his integrity and courage. After what felt like hours, the chamber settled. The illusions vanished, leaving Milo and Zara standing on the glowing platforms. The orb pulsed once, then split into smaller orbs, floating around them as a sign of approval. The voice spoke again, calm and melodic. You are ready for the next stage. The hall sees that you are more than capable of facing challenges of intellect and temptation. You possess the courage, wisdom, and insight required to continue. Milo exhaled deeply, feeling both relief and renewed focus. The seduction of power had tested him in ways no dice or cards ever could. It had tested his values, his patience, and his ability to stay true to himself. Zara smiled. You did very well. Most would have given in to at least one of the illusions. You stayed steady, and the hall has recognized it. Milo nodded. I realized something, he said quietly. Winning here isn't about beating the others or getting the biggest prize. It's about understanding what's important, and not losing yourself along the way. Rena appeared again, her eyes glowing softly. Exactly, Milo. This is why the hall chose you. Your humanity, your courage, honesty, and cleverness gives you an advantage the others cannot match. Remember this. The challenges will continue to grow, and so will the temptations. But you are ready. Milo felt a spark of confidence. Each challenge had tested a different part of him: skill, observation, trust, and now integrity. He was learning to navigate the hall not as a human visitor, but as a worthy participant in a galaxy-wide test. He glanced at Zara. Let's keep moving, he said. I want to see what comes next. She nodded, and together they stepped toward the next glowing corridor. Milo felt a quiet determination in his chest. The hall could tempt, challenge, and test him, but he was human. And humans had something unique, the courage to choose the right path, even when the easier one sparkled in front of them. With that thought, Milo moved forward, ready for the next stage of the Celestia Hall and whatever trials awaited him beyond the glowing corridors. Milo felt a mix of excitement and tension as he entered the final chamber. The air shimmered with soft light, and the floor was a smooth surface that reflected the floating stars above. In the center, a massive holographic table pulsed with energy, larger and more intricate than any he had seen before. This was the master's table, and he knew that every move here would count more than all the games before. Rena stood beside him, her expression calm but serious. This is the ultimate test, she said. The master does not rely on luck or strength alone. He watches for intelligence, courage, strategy, and understanding. The outcome here will determine your place in the hall. Milo nodded. He remembered the lessons from each challenge, the hidden patterns, the temptations he had resisted, and the trust he had built with Zara. He understood that winning here required all those skills combined. A voice echoed in the chamber, deep and melodic. Welcome, Milo. You have shown skill, insight, and integrity. Now you must prove your ability to think, adapt, and act. This is the final game. Before him, the holographic table began to shift. Symbols appeared and rearranged themselves constantly. Some moved on their own, others reacted to Milo's gestures. Holographic projections of alien players appeared too, mimicking actions he had seen in previous games. Milo realized he needed to anticipate multiple layers of strategy at once: the table, the illusions, and the reactions of other players all simultaneously. Zara stepped beside him, quietly observing. We need to coordinate, but carefully. The master tests both independence and collaboration. Watch for patterns and trust your instincts. Milo focused. He analyzed the movements of the symbols, predicting how the table would respond to each action. When a holographic die floated up, he observed its rotation, calculating probabilities in his mind. Unlike before, this game demanded both speed and precision. A single misstep could cause cascading errors. Then, Torin appeared as part of the projection, a reminder that rivals could influence outcomes in subtle ways. Milo studied Torin's gestures carefully, predicting distractions and countering them without hesitation. Each decision required calm, observation, and confidence. Time seemed to blur as Milo adjusted to the rhythm of the game. He communicated silently with Zara through small gestures, sharing patterns and strategies. Together, they corrected anomalies in the table, guided the floating symbols, and anticipated the master's subtle challenges. The final stage approached. A complex holographic puzzle appeared, requiring not only strategy but also understanding of alien culture, mathematics, and logic. Milo's human perspective, shaped by experience, gave him an unexpected advantage. He saw connections that the alien projections missed, noticing patterns in symmetry, balance, and timing. Slowly, he moved the symbols into perfect alignment. The chamber glowed as the puzzle solved itself in harmony with his actions. The master's voice rang out, warm and approving. "Remarkable. You have demonstrated insight, patience, courage, and the ability to act wisely. Your understanding of others and your own strengths has allowed you to succeed where many would fail." Milo exhaled, feeling a mixture of relief and pride. It had been the most difficult challenge of his life, demanding every skill he had learned in the hall. But he had persisted, relying on his intelligence, observation, and, above all, his humanity. Rena smiled, her eyes shining with pride. "You have done more than win a game, Milo. You have shown that humans can compete with the galaxy's greatest minds not through force or trickery, but through courage, cleverness, and integrity." The master's projection shimmered, forming into a humanoid figure that radiated calm authority. "Milo," the master said, "you have proven that humanity possesses qualities that many underestimate. You think clearly, act wisely, and understand not just the rules of the game, but the heart of the challenge. You are chosen to represent your species among the champions of the hall." Milo felt a rush of pride and awe. He had entered the Celestia Hall as a curious traveler, unsure of what awaited him. Now, he was recognized as someone capable of standing alongside the finest beings in the galaxy. Torin's projection nodded respectfully. Milo understood the silent acknowledgement. He had earned respect even from his rival. Zara smiled warmly. "You did it," she said. "The hall could not have chosen anyone better." Milo looked around the chamber, at the floating lights, the intricate symbols, and the echoes of past challenges. He realized the truth: winning the hall was never about luck or greed. It was about understanding, integrity, courage, and trust, the very qualities that defined humanity. Rena placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Remember this, Milo. The hall will always test those who enter. But you have proven that humans are more than capable. You have earned your place here." Milo nodded, feeling the weight and the honor of the moment. He had faced the hall's ultimate game and succeeded, not by trying to outsmart aliens with trickery, but by being human, curious, clever, and courageous. With a deep breath, Milo stepped away from the table. He knew this victory was not the end. The galaxy was full of challenges, mysteries, and opportunities. But now, he had the confidence, skill, and experience to face whatever came next. And in the quiet glow of the chamber, Milo realized something important: humans, though simple in some ways, could rise to greatness when they relied on the strengths that made them unique. The Celestia Hall had tested him and humanity had triumphed. Milo stood at the edge of the final chamber, watching the glowing lights of the Celestia Hall ripple and shift around him. The energy of the place hummed softly, as if the entire station were alive and breathing. He had completed the ultimate challenge, outsmarted illusions, resisted temptations, and navigated rivalries with patience and intelligence. Rena appeared beside him, her silver hair sparkling faintly in the warm glow. "Milo," she said gently, "you have proven yourself in every way. You have shown the Master and the Hall that humans possess qualities worthy of respect across the galaxy." Milo nodded, still catching his breath. It had been a long journey, one filled with puzzles, temptations, and challenges that tested not only his skills but his character. He realized now that each trial had been designed not to trap him, but to reveal the strengths humans often overlooked: curiosity, courage, adaptability, and empathy. A ripple of movement spread through the chamber, and the master's projection appeared once more, towering and radiant. Milo, the voice resonated softly, you have demonstrated qualities beyond mere skill. You act with foresight, think with clarity, and make choices guided by integrity. You have earned a place as a champion of the Celestia Hall. Milo felt a surge of pride. He had come to the hall as a curious human pilot, unsure of why he had been chosen. Now, he was recognized not just as a winner of games, but as a representative of humanity itself, a species capable of standing alongside the galaxy's greatest minds. Torin approached quietly, his expression unreadable. Then he nodded with respect. Milo understood the gesture, even his rival acknowledged the human's triumph. Zara joined them, smiling warmly. The hall rarely sees humans like you, she said. You are clever, patient, and courageous. I am proud to have stood by your side. Milo felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Each challenge had tested a different part of him: observation, logic, trust, and moral courage. Each victory had shown that humans, though often underestimated, could rise above difficulties by relying on their unique strengths. The master's voice spoke again. The hall will remain open, testing and teaching those who enter. But you, Milo, have shown what humanity can achieve. You may leave now, carrying the knowledge that your species is valued among the stars. Rena turned to him. The hall's lessons do not end with its walls. Remember what you have learned here: trust your instincts, value honesty, and act with courage. These qualities will guide you in all your journeys, and they are what make humans extraordinary. Milo smiled faintly. I understand, he said. It's not about winning prizes or gaining power. It's about learning, understanding, and proving that humans can face challenges even in the galaxy's most extraordinary places. He looked around one last time. The tables floated silently, the orbs pulsed gently, and the corridors shimmered with energy. The Celestia Hall had tested him in every way possible, yet it had also taught him something valuable: that human ingenuity and integrity could stand against any force in the universe. As he walked toward the docking bay, Milo felt a sense of purpose stronger than any he had known before. He had arrived as a traveler, uncertain and curious. He was leaving as a champion, recognized not only by the hall, but by aliens across the galaxy as a symbol of what humans could achieve. Rena accompanied him to his ship. The galaxy is full of mysteries, Milo, she said. And humans like you have the potential to explore, understand, and succeed where others might fail. Carry this knowledge proudly. Milo nodded. I will. The hall has shown me that humans are capable of much more than we sometimes realize. We may be simple in some ways, but our courage, cleverness, and empathy are powerful. As he boarded his ship, he looked out at the spinning lights of the Celestia Hall one last time. The station floated in space like a jewel, alive with energy and possibility. Milo's heart swelled with pride and determination. Humanity had been tested, and it had triumphed. He set the ship's course for the stars, feeling a thrill of excitement for the adventures yet to come. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, mysteries, and opportunities, but Milo now knew that humans could meet them all. With courage, intelligence, and heart, they could rise above any obstacle. As the ship lifted from the docking bay, the hall shimmered behind him, a reminder of the lessons learned and the victories earned. Milo smiled. Humanity had proven its worth, and he would carry that truth wherever he went. In that moment, Milo understood something profound: no matter how small or unassuming humans might appear, they had the ability to succeed in even the most extraordinary and challenging places. And in the vast galaxy, that was a power that could never be underestimated. The stars stretched endlessly before him, and Milo felt a deep sense of possibility. The Celestia Hall had tested him, challenged him, and recognized him. Now, humanity's triumph was a beacon, shining across the universe. And Milo was ready for whatever adventures lay ahead.